Hello everybody. Today we are going to conclude fourth chapter, the cop and the anthem. Let us read rest of the paragraphs, rest of the lesson. In our previous class we have studied that Soapy tried his three plans, tricks, but all in vain. But he didn't stop. He tries something else too. Let us see. Then he came to another cop standing in front of a big theater. He thought of something else to try. He began to shout as if he had too much to drink. He just wanted to make acting. His voice was as loud as he could make it. He danced, he cried out. And the cop turned his back to Soapy and said to be a man standing near him, "It is one of those college boys. He won't hurt anything. We have orders to let them shout. We have orders to let them enjoy." Soapy was quiet. Was no cop going to touch him? Was no cop is going to arrest me? He began to think of the island as if it were as far as a star. He pulled his thin coat around him. The wind was very cold. Then he saw a man in a shop buying a newspaper. The man's umbrella stood beside the door. Soapy stepped inside the shop, took the umbrella and walked slowly away from the shop. The man followed him quickly. "My umbrella," he said. "Oh, is it?" Soapy says. Soapy replies, "Oh, is it? Is it your umbrella?" Said Soapy, "Why don't you call a cop? Why don't you call a policeman? I took it, your umbrella. Why don't you call a cop? There's one standing at the corner." Not only Soapy saying, but also Soapy indicating as well, showing as well. There is a cop there. You should call him. The man walked more slowly. Soapy did the same. But he had a feeling that he was going to fail again. The cop looked at the two men, the umbrella man and Soapy. The cop looked at the two men. "I," said the umbrella man, "that is, you know how these things happen. If that's your umbrella, I am very sorry. I found it this morning in a restaurant." It means actually this umbrella also was not mine. I found it in the morning in a restaurant. If you say it's yours, I hope you will. You may take. You are right. "It's mine," cried Soapy with anger in his voice. The umbrella man hurried away. The cop helped a lady across the street. The umbrella man hurried away. After listening his voice, his cry, the umbrella man left from there, and the cop as well left the place to help the lady. Soapy walked east. He threw the umbrella as far as he could throw it. He talked to himself about cops and what he thought of them, because he wished to be arrested. They means police, cop, to believe he was like a king who could not do wrong. Next, at last Soapy came to one of the quiet streets, another street on the side of the city. He turned here and began to walk south toward Madison Square. He was going home, although home was only a seat in a park. Now he fed up. Who? Soapy. He tried his level best, but always he failed. That's why what he decided? He decided to move back to Madison Square, to the park, his home. Home is just a seat in a park. At last Soapy came to one of the quiet, another street on the side of the city. He turned here and began to walk south toward Madison Square, back to Pavilion. He was going home. He was going park, although home was only a seat in a park. But at a very quiet corner, Soapy stopped. But something happened there. Let's see. Here was his old childhood home. Through one window, he could see a soft light shining. That had been his living room, where he had spent many happy, peaceful moments in childhood. Sweet music means here anthem. Sweet music came to Sophie's ears and seemed to hold him there. The moon was above, peaceful and bright. There were few people passing. He could hear birds high above him, and the music and the anthem that came from the room held Sophie there, for he had known it will long ago. In those days, means when he was child, in his childhood, in those days his life contained, means his life had such things as mother and flowers and high hopes and friends and clean thoughts and clean clothes. There was a sudden and wonderful change in his soul. What happened? There was a sudden change. There was a sudden and wonderful change in his soul. Means he is going to change his mind. He is going to change his plan to go to Blackwell's Island. He saw with sick fear how he had fallen. He saw, means he felt sick fear how he had fallen. He saw his worthless days. He saw, means he realized his worthless days, his wrong desires, his wrong wishes, plans, his dead hopes, the lost power of his mind. And also in a moment, his heart answered this change in his soul. He would fight to change his life. Now he realized. He decided to change himself again. He would fight to change his life. He would pull himself up out of the mud, out of the dirt. He would make a man of himself again. He will become a man himself again. There was a time he was young enough. What he thought? Still I have time. Still I am young enough. He would find his old purpose, old target in life and follow it and fulfill it. That sweet music had changed him. Who changed him? That sweet music means anthem. Tomorrow he would find work. A man had once offered him a job. He would find that man tomorrow. He would be somebody in the world. I will become something in the world. I will compulsory will become. Sophie felt a hand on his arm, but suddenly what he felt? Sophie felt a hand on his arm. He looked quickly around into the broad face of a cop. What are you doing hanging around here? Asked the cop. What he asked? What are you doing hanging around here? Means roaming, waiting here and there. What are you doing here? Asked the cop. Nothing, said Sophie. You think I believe that? Said the cop. You are saying, but you think I believe that? Full of his new strength, Sophie began to argue. What he did? Full of his new strength. The strength came from the anthem. Full of his new strength, Sophie began to argue with the police. And it is not wise to argue with a New York cop. Come along, said the cop. 3 months prison on Blackwell's Island, said the judge to Sophie next morning. So that's why, as I told you in our previous class, Sophie wants something and happens something. This is called an ironic story written by O. Henry. Hope you enjoyed.